Clinton Reads Fat. Written by Matthew Cash. Narrated by Craig Brown. 1. Clinton Read was a fat man. He wasn't so fat anyone would make a television documentary on his life. A 24-hour insight to his half-ton life. He didn't have to sleep naked on a pallet and resemble a human walrus. Big flabby mouth, panting for breath, fighting for air, whilst another chip supper went down his gullet, seemingly whole. Like a seagull with, well, a chip. He wasn't that fat, but he was in the top category of obesity, whatever that was. The weight charts always were confusing, a few stones between each category, but once you were in the red, that category just kept on forever. Morbidly obese was Clinton's home team. Clinton unhooked the shower head from the holder. Whenever he did this, he always smirked to himself, as it made him think of a microphone and stand. He sang a few lines of a Louis Armstrong song and turned the water on. Even though Clinton was a big man, he was surprisingly agile, and he prided himself on his appearance. He spent far too much money on clothes, and more importantly, hair products. He had awesome hair. Picture Robert Plant at his most hairsome. Clinton wet his naturally blonde lion's mane and reached for the expensive shampoo. He thought about which shirt he would wear later. Clinton's favourite night of the week was Saturday, karaoke night at the castle. He was a local celebrity in town for his awesome singing voice. He had such an impressive vocal range. A song by a legendary rhythm and blues musician with an amphibious nickname had a famous song that was his party piece. He lathered his hair up and practiced a few lines of his song. I ain't got a home, and no place to roam. I ain't got a home, and no place to roam. I'm a lonely boy, I ain't got a home. Clinton rinsed his hair, and as the suds and water washed over his head, a pungent odour shot up his nose. Now there's a vicious lie that excessively fat people smell. Sure, there are some that do, and some that don't. But Clinton always prided himself on his appearance, even though he was the dark side of 30 stone. Gotta be the drains, he thought, as he used the spray to get the last bubbles of soap from his face. He moved his colossal weight against the shower wall, held his belly in the best he could, and stared down at the plug hole. It was always getting blocked with hair and stuff. Clinton couldn't see anything, but the smell was certainly coming from the plug hole. Knowing that he'd not be able to enjoy his shower with that smell, and the exertion he would use to go at it with the plunger would make him sweat more, he switched the shower off. He knelt his tremendous frame onto the bath towel he had lied on the floor and reached for the plunger beneath the sink. He placed the plunger over the hole and pumped it up and down. After a few burps and a gurgle, nothing from the plug hole. He tried again, with increased vigour. He looked like a great naked head-banging fertility goddess, with his long hair thrashing about like in some kind of worshipper's ceremony. Nothing. Swearing under his breath and having a few moments breather, he lowered his face towards the plug hole to see if he could see any obstructions. He thought he could see something pale a few inches down. He got closer and swore aloud when his hair got caught on a screw. Caring more about his precious hair than some build-up of pubes or whatever made the block, he averted his attention to loosening the strand of hair and detaching himself from the plug hole. It was impeccable timing and luck, which caused Clinton to pull upwards and yank at his hair, just as something shot out of the plug hole and lashed at his forehead with lightning speed. He recoiled, fell back onto his butt, and cracked his head against the sink. Whatever the fuck had struck him on the forehead had disappeared back down the plug hole. His forehead started throbbing.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.